Hello guys and welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Dylan and I had an idea for a story. Ever since Star Wars Rogue One came out, I had this idea. I've been sitting on it for a very long time. And then Star Wars The Mandalorian came out and that ended up being a great TV show. So I turned my movie idea into a TV series idea. And then I started writing it down for the first time ever. And what I have decided to do is I have decided to publish it, make videos on it, show it to you guys. Now this is definitely not canon by Disney. This is not made by Disney. This is made by me, a fan. It is fan made. And I am not a professional writer. I am not a professional speaker. I will narrate it for you, but feel free to, of course, mute me and read it for yourselves, because some people can read faster than I can speak better than I can, so go ahead and feel free to do that. I cannot put music in these videos because, of course, copyrights, but feel free to turn on some Star Wars music in the background and read my Star Wars story. My fan-made Star Wars story. Star Wars The Rise, Chapter 5. The Sith Blade. Kevin turns around and gestures Jarv closer. Jarv looks around and runs up to him. Did you find something? He asked. Yeah, they went into the elevator. You see that? They're heading up to level 5. They're just near level 4. If we run up the stairs, we can ambush them. I'll go first. You trail behind me. Jarv nods. Kevin goes up 10 stairs before Jarv starts, staying 10 to 12 stairs below, following Kevin towards floor 5. It seems floor 4 is a few stories high. It's probably the engine room itself, and floor 3 is just the path behind it or something. Either way, a few hundred steps later, Kevin reaches floor 5 and opens the door. He looks back for Jarv. Jarv is about 23 steps behind now, out of breath. Kevin can't see him, but laughs at the thought of the look of him. Picturing in his mind Jarv sitting on the steps, breathing hard. If we survive this, I'm going to train you up, Jarv, he thinks to himself. As he opens the door to floor 5, just as he does, the elevator opens. He runs into the room, closes the door, and hides behind a few crates. Now Kevin understands floor 5 must be one big treasure room. The Rodians bring the crate and stuff into the room and set it down. Perfect. Now if I can just get to it after they leave, Kevin thought. But then they sat down on a few benches inside the room. But how do I get them to leave? He says to himself. Then the door flew open. It's Jarv, out of breath. They see him, and he immediately runs the opposite way towards floor 6. That's one of the idiots we stole from. Get him, the Rodian says. They both go after Jarv. Well, not as planned, but it will work. Thanks, Jarv, he says, and goes for the crate. He unfortunately trips over a horn, which falls and makes lots of noise. They turn around. You get that guy, I'll get this one, the Rodian says. Great, Kevin thinks as he grabs the crate and runs into the elevator, with a Rodian shooing at him. He closes the door not before a blaster grazes his arm. He hits the button for room 6, hoping to get Jarv and hightail it out of there. But then as the door opens, he hears blasters. He sees the boss and the other pirates, 16 in all, pointing blasters at his head. MD3's right. I always do end up with a blaster pointing at my head, he thinks to himself. Jarv is tied up on the ground underneath the Rodian's foot, the one that went after him. A guy told us to get whatever is in that crate, so hand it over, the boss says. Kevin thinks fast on his feet. Okay, I'll give it to you. He pushes the crate with more force than necessary. As if he had the strength of 100 men. It flies down the room and knocks the boss over. He then follows the crate, using it as a shield as they shoot at him. The crate then bangs and slides open as it tumbles over. The contents fall out and smashes into ash on the floor. There's a few gold rings and sashes, a silver cane with a crystal ball on top. But then the worst unraveled, falling on the floor, unraveled from its cloth. It fell, a short sword. It has a large curve to it, and a barred crossguard with spikes on the end of it. On the opposite of its tip, it's wavy, slightly hooked, and in the middle of the handle, almost at the crossguard, sits a big, deep red gem on it. It's not a gem, though. It's a crystal. Kevin seems to recognize the sword, and Jarv can see the fear grow in his eyes. One of the pirates pick it up. Kevin tries to stop him. No, don't touch! But it's too late. As soon as the pirate leans up and about to thrust it into Kevin, the sword starts glowing. The pirate stops to see it. Then his hand starts to harden. Soon it turns to stone. And then his arm, as he screams in agony, trying to let go of the thing, he himself turns into stone, only in a statue of pain and suffering. Jarv, in the commotion, runs to Kevin. What is that thing? He looks at it and then to Kevin. Kevin, what is that thing? He yelled. Kevin seems to be dazed, but then he starts to mumble. What, Kevin? Jarv asked again. He has trouble getting the words out, but finally does. It's a Sith blade. A Sith blade, Jarv says as he gazes at the sword. It falls to the ground out of the statue that once was alive. Kevin, frantic as ever, mutters something as another shot goes off. The other people slowly get up. The boss yells, "What did you do? What magic did this?" Jarv scrambles to his feet. Is the sword the Sith blade? The boss doesn't care. I'm Captain Dodger, head bounty hunter at Scavanair, and you two are on the wrong ship. Get them, boys! He yells. The pirates start to run towards them from across the room. Kevin, I need you to get up, Kevin! Jarv yells, frantic, as another 2 shots go off. They're just warning shots. They're trying to capture them, not kill them. Jarv grabs Kevin's face. Kevin, snap out of it! As he's about to slap him across the face. Finally, Kevin comes to. That's it, Jarv. What? He asked. We need to get out of here. As one of the blasts hits the statue, it bursts into pieces. We need to destroy that thing. We need to destroy it now, he yells, even more frantically before it. He heads for a small box he recognizes from the ship. Jarv, on his knees, follows him, trying not to get shot. What is your plan? Jarv asked. Kevin doesn't answer, just mumbles. Have to destroy it. I'm not going back. Jarv is now more worried about Kevin right now than the pirates behind him. It's a good thing he's a Tagrua. His head can sense things more than humans can, so he's staying one step ahead from the shots. Oh, please be on my side. The force is with me. He starts whispering over again and again. Kevin, what are you doing? Kevin grabs the box, undoes the latch, and pulls out all of the Dion powder capsules. He then tosses it toward the Sith blade. One shot is all it will take, he mumbles. As he said, the pirate's shooting hits one of the capsules. It goes off in a flash of light. The whole place explodes. They're all thrown back, smoke and debris flying everywhere. A little dazed, Jarv slowly comes to. His montreals hurt. He lying back down on the ground. He opens his eyes to a landscape of fire. He can barely breathe. He tries to get up, but his arms don't want to support his body. He slowly slides back and up a wall to where he can sit up. He then feels blood dripping down. He can tell it must be from either his shoulder or parts of his head. It's from both. He hears coughing in the distance. "Hey, Jarv! Hey, you alive out there?" That's right, Cavan was closer to the blast than Jarv was. His head still spinning and his right ear no longer functioning. He could barely hear his name being called out. He looks around, frantic for Cavan. He sees a figure standing up. "Cavan, over here, man, over here!" The figure walks forward. It's not Cavan, though. It's the pirate. Scared across the face from the blast. "You're alive," he says at Jarv. Jarv cowers in fear. "It's okay. You'll be dead soon," he says and raises a blaster. But before he does anything, Cavan bangs him on the head. "Good, you're alive, Jarv." Jarv laughed. "Look who's talking," he marched back, barely able to speak. He walks forward. Jarv is surprised to see his hair is so short. "I had to trim a bit. It was on fire." Jarv laughs even harder, but stops when he sees the pain kicks in. Other than a new hairdo and a few fire-torn-up clothes, the worst Cavan got was a few scratches up and down his body. "That blast killed most of the pirates," Cavan says. "How you feeling, Jarv?" He sits up. "Oh, just a few broken ribs and a sore ear. I'll be fine," he says as he starts coughing again. Cavan can tell he's injured badly, but Jarv isn't worried about himself. He's worried about him. He chooses to ignore it for now. He grabs Jarv's arm and throws him over his back. "Come on, got to move." Jarv looks down and sees that Cavan has a good burnt leg, but barely any damage. He thinks to himself, how in the galaxy is he not trashed? But says nothing to Cavan. The ship then creaks and moans. "What's that?" Jarv asked. "Oh, nothing, just the ship falling into the land below," Cavan answered. "Oh, is that all? Glad you're so nonchalant about it. I'd be freaking out if I wasn't used to it by now." As they walked, Cavan asked back, "You're really getting used to it, huh?" "That's good. I'm glad one of us is," Cavan laughed. "Are you telling me you're freaking out?" Jarv answered. "A little bit. I'm just better at hiding it." Suddenly the ship turns on its side and starts falling down to the land below. With nothing to hold onto, Jarv and Cavan scream to possibly their deaths. They fall right through the doorway and start heading down the stairs. Cavan then remembers that the escape pods are near. He then grabs one of the stairs and, with his left hand, while making sure to grip Jarv in the right, now my left arm is out of its socket. Thanks for that, he yells. Shut up, notebook, Cavan responded. He then throws Jarv down a corridor. The ship is now so close to the ground. As the pods are gone, meaning there are some survivors. Kevin frantically looking around and sees a old parachute made out of metallic cloth. An old relic, but it will have to do. He grabs her. Hey, wait, what are you doing? Jarv yells as they both jump out of the falling ship in one parachute. Ah! They both yell while falling. The parachute opens as the land ship crashes into another explosion. It catches fire on the parachute and they fall down faster. Hold on! I got an idea! Kevin yells. I hope you do! Jarv yells. Kevin grabs a few marbles out of his pocket and hits the button on them. They quickly blow up and soften. The blow of the both Jarv and Kevin. He always keeps them in his pocket for escapes like this. As they slowly laugh at one another, their troubles are not over yet. The boss grabs Jarv, his face brutally scarred. You cost me my ship and my bounty, he yells. Boys, there are now twice the amount of pirates surrounding him. Apparently they were on the ship working on the other things, each banged up from the crash. What do you want us to do with him? A pirate says. Throw him in the fire, the boss yells. They grab Jarv and are close to doing it as Kevin steps up. Stop, he yells. He looks down onto his feet. There, the sith blade sits not even a scratch. Leave me alone, he yells to the thing. I destroyed you. Go away, he yells. You're mad, the boss says as he raises his blaster to Kevin's head. The blaster shoots only for the blade to block it. The blade is floating in mid-air. The boss steps back. That's impossible, he yells and shoots again. 3 shots this time. The sword on its own blocks every one. Kevin steps back. The curse of the past. It's come again, he yells. The pirate boss shoots at this blade more, not aiming for Kevin, just the blade. It doesn't even make a scratch. Enough of this. Just kill the Tigru, he says and aims at Jarv. Stop, Kevin yells again. He then stands over the blade. Make one more step. I dare you, he says. He leans over the blade. Huh, the boss yells. And what will you do? Turn to stone by that cursed sword? Try me, boy, he says, licking his reptilian lips. Kevin grabs the blade. The ground starts to shake. A place with little atmosphere, such as this port, should not have clouds. Yet thunder and lightning emerge. Kevin rises up. His skin took a more pale look. His hair seemed darker by comparison. He was always on the skinny side, but now he looked bony. With his burnt-up blaster filled robe, he looked like the spitting image of death in the flesh. He breathed in and then out, and opened his eyes. They were a couple of frightening yellow demonic eyes.